Guys, in the last session, we understood what is JDBC and how to work with JDBC to perform operations with the database by using Java program. So as part of our previous sessions, we discussed about what is a class path, how to set a class path for our application. So our application will use several third-party jar files. If you want to use any jar file in our project, we need to add that jar file to class path. We can set that in the command prompt, or we can set in the IDE also. In the IDE, we will call that as a build path, right? After that, we have seen what is a jar file. What is a jar file? Java archive, which contains a collection of .class files. Jar file contains a collection of .class files, right? Now we can create our project as a jar file. Generally, standalone applications will be delivered to the client as a jar file. Then after we have seen what is API. What is API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. It contains a set of classes and interfaces. For the API, anybody can provide the implementation. In the Java, mainly we have JSC API and JEE API. JSC API is used to develop standalone applications. JEE API is used to develop web applications. In the JSC API, we have JDBC also. JDBC is one API which is part of JSC. JDBC API contains set of classes and interfaces to communicate with the database. For the JDBC API, there are so many implementations available. Who provided implementations for JDBC API? Who provided implementation for JDBC API? Come on, the database vendors. Database vendors provided the implementation for JDBC API. So JDBC can connect with Oracle database. By using JDBC, we can connect with Oracle database. By using JDBC, we can connect with MySQL database. By using JDBC, we can connect with SQL Server. There are so many databases available in the market. All the database vendors provided the implementation for JDBC API. How they provided that implementation? How they provided that implementation? Driver. They have provided a driver for us. So the driver is available in the form of jar file. Driver is available in the form of jar file. All right. Now JDBC driver. We are using JDBC driver to get the connection with the database. So in order to get the connection with the database, we are using driver manager dot get connection. Driver manager dot get connection we are using. Then we have seen what is a statement. Can you tell me what is a statement? Statements are used to execute the queries. What type of queries we can execute by using statement? We can execute both select queries as well as non-select queries by using statement. And if your query does not have any value, if your query is a static query, always the same query will execute. Same query will execute again and again. Then you need to go for statement. Statement is a class or statement is an interface. Statement is a class or statement is an interface. Statement is a interface, right? So statement is an interface. By using that statement, we are executing select queries as well as non-select queries. What about prepared statement? Prepared statement is a class or it is an interface. Come on. Prepared statement is also a interface. What is the purpose of prepared statement? It is used to execute both select queries and non-select queries with a dynamic value. So you want to execute the same query, but values are going to be different. I'm going to change the value. My query is the same, but value is going to be different. I want to insert the record. Every time new values I want to insert. I want to search the records. Every time new search criteria. So if you want to execute same query with a different values, then it is recommended to go for prepared statement. Prepared statement are interfaces only. Next one is callable statement. What is a callable statement? Come on guys, what is a callable statement? Callable statement is used to execute procedure. It is used to execute procedure. What is a procedure? Procedure means set of SQL statements to perform one or more operation. Why we need to go for procedures? What is the advantage of going for procedures? Instead of writing the logic in the Java, we are writing the logic in the database. What is the advantage? If we write the logic in the database, program will execute fast. Our program will communicate with the database only one time. Our program will execute faster. If I write the logic in the Java, every time my Java program should communicate with the database. If Java program communicating with the database for multiple times, then performance will be decreased. To improve performance of the application, we are writing the business logic in the database only by using procedure concept. Are you clear, guys? Next one. Can we pass input for the procedure? Can we pass the input for the procedure? Can we take output from the procedure? Yes, that is with the parameter, in parameters and out parameters. Then what is the result set? What is the result set? Yes, whenever we execute a select query, we will get the results in the form of result set object. Result set object will maintain the data in the rows, right? So there will be a cursor to point the row. Always cursor will point the current row. Whenever we get the result set, the cursor will be available before first row. Do you know how to move the cursor? Yes, how to move the cursor? By using next method, we are going to move the cursor. By using next method, we will move the cursor, right? How many types of result sets we have? Come on, how many types of result sets we have? Sensitive result set and insensitive result set. Sensitive result set means will fetch the latest data from the database. Insensitive result set will not fetch the data from the database. Next one, concurrency. Read only, concur updatable. There are two types of concurrencies available. What are those two types of concurrencies? Read only, concur updatable. What is the difference between read only and concur updatable? Come on, what is the difference between read only and concur updatable? Read only means that result set modifications will not reflect in the database. Concur updatable means if you make any changes to the result set, that change will reflect in the database table also. So these are the concepts that we have discussed in the JDBC. Okay, today we are going to talk about what is batch update in the JDBC. What is this concept, guys? Batch update. First of all, what is batch? Batch means bulk operation. Batch means bulk operation. Come on, guys. Batch means bulk operation. Now, you all want to learn Java. Am I teaching Java for person by person? I'm teaching Java for a batch. If I want to teach Java for all you people separately, how much time it will take for me? 1 year, not sufficient, right? So generally, if I teach in the batch only, it is taking 6 months, more than 6 months, 6 to 7 months of time. If I want to teach Java person to person, yearly I can teach for only 2 people. Yearly I can teach Java only for 2 people. Lot of time will be wasted. Lot of energy will be wasted. So instead of teaching Java person to person, what we are doing? We are teaching the Java batch by batch. We are starting a batch. In the batch, multiple people will be available. We are teaching for this batch. Once this batch is completed, then we will go for next batch. Like this, batch by batch, we are teaching Java. What is the advantage? At a time, I can teach Java for 50 people. Time will be saved, money will be saved, energy will be saved. So similarly, in the projects also, there is a concept called batch operation. There is a concept called batch operation. Batch operation means bulk operation. Batch operation means bulk operation. Now, for example, I want to insert 3 records into table, or I want to insert 10 records into table. Now, if I want to insert 10 records into table, let's take this. This is my database table. This is my Java application. I want to insert 3 records or 5 records. Okay. So this is insert 1, then insert 2, insert 3, and so on, insert 10. I want to insert 10 records into database table. So this is my database. So insert 1, that means one query will be executed to insert 1 record. Then second record I want to insert. Then third record I want to insert. Fourth record, fifth record, and so on. 10 records I want to insert. How many queries will execute? To insert 10 records into the table, how many queries are going to execute? 10 queries are going to execute. Suppose I want to insert 100 records. 100 queries we need to execute. 100 queries we need to execute, because for every record, one query should execute. Insert first record, insert second record, insert third record. Like that, I need to insert 10 records. That means 10 queries should execute. That means 10 times my Java program will communicate with the database to perform the operation. So if we communicate 10 times with the database to insert 10 records, our application performance will reduce. Application performance will reduce. So this is not recommended to insert multiple records individually like this. Instead of that, what we can do is, this is my database. This is my Java program. So in the approach 1, 10 records I'm inserting one by one. If I insert 10 records one by one, 10 times my Java program will communicate with the database, which will reduce performance of our program. So to avoid this problem, what we do is, whatever the 10 records we want to insert, all the 10 records I will add to one batch. All the 10 records I will add it to one batch. Like this, I'm going to take a statement. In the statement, I will take record 1, record 2, and so on, record 10. Whatever the 10 records I want to insert, the 10 records I'm adding to one statement. Then I'm going to execute that statement with the database. All the 10 records will insert in the database table at a time. This is called execute batch. This is called execute batch. Earlier SQL, then again SQL, again SQL, again SQL. For 10 records, 10 SQL queries executed earlier. So I want to insert 10 records. Assume that I'm getting the data in one Excel file. I'm getting the data in one Excel file. You know Excel file, right? Rows will be available, columns will be available. I got the data in one Excel file. I want to insert that data into my database table. Whatever the data I received from the Excel file, that data I want to insert into database table. In the Excel file today, 10 records are coming. Tomorrow, 100 records can come. Day after tomorrow, 1000 records can come. If I get 1000 records in the Excel, so 1000 queries I need to execute to insert 1000 records. If I execute 1000 queries to insert 1000 records, application performance will become slow. To avoid that problem, we are going to use a concept called batch operations. We are going to use a concept called Batch operations. What is the meaning of a batch? Can you guys tell me? What is the meaning of a batch? Batch means, can we call it as a bulk operation? Yes, batch means it is a bulk operation. Batch means a bulk operation, right? Now, whatever the records you want to insert, all the records you add it to the statement. You add it to the statement as a batch. You create one batch. You create one batch. You add all the records to batch. Then execute the batch. When you execute the batch, all the records which are added to the batch will be inserted at a time in the table. So if I go for, this is my approach 1. This is my approach 1. Inserting records one by one, one by one. This is my approach 2. Now, what is the difference between approach 1 and approach 2, guys? Can you tell me? Yeah, what is the difference between approach 1 and approach 2? In the approach 1, for every record, one SQL query will be executed. What about approach 2? What about approach 2? All the queries are added to one batch object and I'm executing the batch object. When I execute the batch object, what will happen? All the queries which are added to the batch will execute at a time so that performance will be improved. Are you clear with my point? So tell me, what is a batch? Batch means bulk operation. When we want to perform bulk operation, then we can use JDBC batch operations. We can use JDBC batch operations. Example, insert 100 records into table. Insert 100 records into table at a time. I want to insert 100 records into table at a time. So now we can insert 100 records into table in 2 ways. One is normal 100 queries we can execute. Second one, add the 100 queries to batch object and execute the batch object. If I execute 100 queries one by one, then what is the problem? If I go for first approach, what is the problem? For every record, one query will execute, that will decrease performance of the application. How can we improve performance of the application? How can we improve performance of the application? To improve performance of the application, we will add all the queries to batch and we will execute the batch. When we execute the batch, what will happen? All the queries will execute at a time. Can we see that now? Yeah. Go to workbench, connect with our database. I'm opening my workbench. It is our database client, guys. Is that? Yeah. Use the database, select a star from books. Yeah, we are having records up to 105. Okay, now I want to perform a batch operation. New class batch operations example. I'm creating one new class. In that class, I will perform batch operation. In order to do that, I'm going to take my database credentials, URL, username, and password. Yes, now let me take my main method. Main method is entry point for our program execution. Next, driver loading, that was optional now because already we have added that jar file to the class path or build path. All the classes in the jar file will be loaded. Driver class will be loaded. Static block will execute. Driver will be registered. Can we get the connection directly? Yes, we can get the connection directly. How to get the connection? Driver manager dot get connection, driver class URL, username and password. Driver class URL, username and password. Now let us do throws exception. I'm throwing exception. What is the return type of this method, guys? We are going to get connection object. Import that java.sql connection, java.sql.driver manager. From this connection, can we create a statement? Yes, con.create statement. What is the return type? Statement object. Okay, fine. Statement is created. Earlier, what we have done, statement dot execute update. Statement dot execute update. We have written a query. For example, I want to insert one record. How can we do that? Insert into books values 106, comma some AI, comma some price 2,800, something like this. Okay. So if I write like this, then what will happen? Guys, if I write like this, then what will happen? stmt.execute update, then con.close. Connection will be closed. Now I'm getting connection, driver manager dot get connection. Using that connection, I'm creating a statement. Using the statement, I'm calling execute update. It is going to execute one insert query. Then I'm writing con.close. So if I execute this program, what will happen? One row will be inserted into database table. Suppose I want to insert two records. I want to insert two records. If I want to insert two records, what we can do? Execute update, execute update. Here I will give as 107. I will give as 108 AI, ML, some DS, something like this. 28, 38, 48. If I go like this, what is the problem? With this, can I insert three records into table? Yes or no? So three records are inserting at a time. Three records will insert one by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. How many times our program will communicate with the database? 3 times. Suppose if I have 100 records, 100 times our program should communicate with the database. Is this recommended or not recommended? Not recommended. Why it is not recommended? Performance issue. This approach is not recommended because it is a performance issue. Now I want to improve the performance. In order to improve the performance, instead of executing the queries directly like this, let us add all the queries to one batch object. Let us add all the queries to one batch object. Let us execute that batch so that all the queries will execute at a time in the database. Let us see how to add these queries to a batch and how to execute that batch. Now, instead of calling execute update method, we can go for a method called add batch method. stmt.add batch, add batch, add batch. So this query is added to batch object. I have created a statement. Every statement object will be associated with one batch object. Whenever we create a statement, for that statement, batch object will be available. Now, statement dot add batch first query, statement dot add batch second query, statement dot add batch third query. Finally, we are going to call statement dot execute batch. What is that, guys? Statement dot execute batch. Now, execute batch method is going to return array. That means how many rows are affected. Okay, integer array. That array represents how many rows are affected in the database table. Okay. Now we can print it for count value is available, right? Yeah, we can say like this for integer I colon count system.out.println of I. System.out.println of I. This is my batch. After closing this connection, I'm writing system.out.println execution completed. I'm saying that execution completed. Earlier we called execute update method directly to execute the query. Now, am I executing the query directly, or I'm adding my queries to batch and I'm executing my batch? I am adding queries to batch and I am executing batch. So what is the difference? If I execute queries, every query will execute separately. 3 times our Java program should communicate with the database. Instead of executing 3 queries separately, let us add all the queries to batch object and execute that batch object. Let us add all the queries to batch object and execute that batch object. Advantage, all the queries will execute at a time. Now, before going to run the program, select the star from books. Can you see? 101, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to 5 records are available. Now, I'm trying to insert 106, 107 and 108. Run as Java application. Run as Java application. Yeah, now see 3 ones printed. What is the meaning of that? 3 rows are affected. With the first query, 1 row affected. With the second query, 1 row affected. With the third query, 1 row affected. Execution completed. Go to database. Now can you see 106, 107, 108 records are inserted? Yes, those records are inserted. Now I executed batch by using statement. I executed the batch by using statement. Same thing can be done by using prepared statement also. Batch queries we can execute by using statement object, or we can execute by using prepared statement object also. Are you guys clear? Right. So now instead of executing the queries separately, we are adding the queries to batch object, and batch we are executing at a time. So whenever we create a statement, that statement object is having a batch. Statement object is having a batch. Now this is our database. Instead of executing the queries individually, we are adding the queries to batch. This is our batch, and that batch we are executing with the database. Okay, so here I'm adding my query 1, query 2, query 3 and query 4. Query 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this, multiple queries. Query 1, query 2, query 3, query 4. Like this, you can add any number of queries to your batch object, and you can execute that batch object at a time. So every statement is associated with one batch object. Here, add. This is execute batch. So approach 1 and approach 2. Approach 1 and approach 2. In the approach 1, we are executing insert queries directly. So for every query, it will communicate with the database. In the second approach, I created a statement. With the statement, my batch object is created. For that batch object, I have added my queries and I have executed that batch. When I execute that batch, all the queries available in the batch will be executed at a time. So 3 records will be inserted at a time. Java program will communicate with the database only one time. All the queries will execute at a time. The best example for this is, guys, if you are using net banking, there are 2 types of transactions in the net banking. One is NEFT Another one is IMPS. What is the meaning of IMPS? Quick transfer, right? IMPS means if I transfer within fraction of seconds, amount will be transferred. Quick transfer we can do by using IMPS. Suppose if I go for a NEFT transaction, yeah, some banks will have 4 hours, some banks will have 30 minutes, some banks will have 2 hours. So NEFT transactions will happen through batch operation only. So SBI Bank will have 3 batches in a day. Morning 9 o'clock one batch will execute. Afternoon 2 o'clock one batch will execute. Evening 5 o'clock one batch will execute. That means after 9, whatever the transactions you do, all those transactions will be processed at the 2 o'clock in single shot. 2 to 5 o'clock, whatever the transactions you do, all the transactions will be added to the batch. Batch will execute at the 5 o'clock. That means NEFT transactions, if you make, immediately transfer will not happen. I'm doing the NEFT transfer. After 2 hours, my transaction will complete. If you do the NEFT transfer, after 2 hours, your transaction will complete. Why? Because so many NEFT transactions will happening. If they do every transaction at a time, so many times, program should communicate with the database, which will reduce performance of the application. That's why NEFT transactions will happen through batches. Do you understand why SBI or any bank going for NEFT transactions with some time delay? The reason is so many people will be doing NEFT transactions. Every time, if you communicate with the database, which will reduce performance of the application. That's why some banks will have 4 slots for the execution of the batches. Some banks will have 2 slots. Some banks will have 3 slots. SBI is having 3 slots. In 3 slots, their batches will execute. Got my point? Yeah. Make a note. Batch operations in JDBC. Or we can say JDBC batch operations. Make a note of it. JDBC batch operations. Correct, sir. You can't do select operation. It is only for insert, update, and delete. I will give that note, right? If you want to perform select operation, no need to go for batch. No, in which order you have added the queries to the batch, right? In the same order it will execute. No. All right. Feeling lazy to write, huh? All days effect, huh? Yeah. Even I'm feeling like last 1 week I did not open my laptop. I'm feeling like I forgot Java. I need to recall you also, huh? All of a sudden things are not coming into brain. It will take some, I think it will take 1 or 2 days to get settled. Yes, yesterday in my Spring Boot class also, for 5 minutes I got confused. Kya bolna hai aaj? Right. JDBC batch operations. JDBC batch operations. Yeah, you know down. JDBC batch operations. Batch means bulk operation. When we want to perform bulk operations, When we want to perform bulk operation in database, then we can use JDBC batch operations concept. When we want to perform bulk operations in database, then we can use JDBC batch operations concept. Example, insert 100 records into table at a time. Insert 100 records into table at a time. Insert 100 records into table at a time. Yeah, take this diagram. Approach 1 and approach 2. Approach 1 and approach 2. Yeah, take the diagram. And the notes reference will be there now. I will give some points based on the diagram. Approach 1 and approach 2. Completed. In approach 1, we are executing queries independently. 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 So for every query execution, we are executing queries independently. So for every query execution, Java program will communicate with the database. In approach 1, we are executing queries independently. So for every query execution, Java application will communicate with database. It will decrease performance of the application. In approach 1, we are executing queries independently. So for every query execution, Java application will communicate with database. For every query execution, Java application will communicate with database. It will decrease performance of the application. It will decrease performance of the application. To avoid this next point, to avoid this problem, we can use batch operation. To avoid this problem, we can use batch operation. To avoid this problem, we can use batch operation. In batch operations, all the queries will be added to batch object. In batch operation, all the queries will be added to batch object, and we will execute the batch one time. In the batch operations, we will add all the queries to batch object and we will execute that batch. In the batch operations, we will add all the queries to batch object and we will execute the batch only one time. When we execute the batch, all the queries added to the batch will be executed at a time. When we execute the batch, all the queries added to the batch will be executed at a time. When we execute the batch, all the queries added to the batch will be executed at a time. In the bracket, it will improve performance of the application. It will improve performance of the application. It will improve performance of the application. Yeah. Take this program. You don't need to take everything, just you can take from here. Or you can print like this, na? System.out.length. Come on guys, note down. Write the program. From main method you can write it. Note on the program. Earlier we used it to call execute update method. Now we are calling add batch method. 3 queries added to the batch and here batch is executed. All the queries added to the batch will execute at a time. We can use prepare statement also. Next I will tell you that. Queries are added to statement. When we execute the batch, all the queries are in that batch will execute in the database. Statement will send the queries, right? Huh. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science. Yeah, guys, all of you know about ChatGPT? ChatGPT, you know, which is trending in the market, which is becoming competitor for Google, and it is better than Google. ChatGPT, you don't know? Arey yaar, it created revolution in the world within 2 months of time. Within 2 months of time, it created revolution in the world. You don't know? Seriously? Arey yaar. This is ChatGPT. First of all, to understand ChatGPT, first you need to know what is a chatbot. Do you know chatbot? Chatbot means whenever we chat AI, artificial intelligence will be there. Instead of a human, one machine will reply. Now, if you see, Zoom website is there. I will go to Zoom website. I will click here. This is chat option. When I click this chat option, do you think that one employee will reply? Now see here. Hi, I'm Jiko, Zoom's virtual agent for sales. This is a chatbot. So if I click on how do I join a meeting? I have a query how to join a Zoom meeting. When I click on this, that Zoom chatbot will reply to me. It is redirecting me to some website, or see here, I'm getting the responses. Do you think that one employee typing those responses? No, it is automated. A system is giving the reply. That is called chatbot. So if you have any questions in the Zoom, then you can chat with Zoom chatbot. Now, similarly, one company in the USA developed a chatbot. That chatbot is called as ChatGPT. Okay, right? So this ChatGPT is very intelligent. Whatever the question you ask, it will give the response. Whatever the question you ask, it will give the response. For example, you want to write a Java program to reverse a string. ChatGPT will write the program for you. Seriously, not only Java, you ask how to print a message by using Python. It will write the Python code. You ask, develop a REST API by using Spring Boot. It will write the code for you. It's better than Google, right? When you go for Google, if you ask some question in the Google, what will happen? Is it giving the answer, or it is giving some links to refer? Which link we need to choose? That we have to decide. Which link is giving the correct answer? That we have to decide. We need to read that and we need to identify that. Suppose write a Java program to print first 10 prime numbers. Java program to print first 10 prime numbers. Okay, I given one query to the Google. What Google has done? Java T point. Some links are available. Which link is giving the correct answer? We don't know. That we need to search, right? Instead of we are using Google for this question, if you go for ChatGPT will give the correct program for you. If you ask anything, not only software, suppose you want to prepare biryani, you ask ChatGPT how to prepare biryani, it will give step-by-step procedure. That ChatGPT is very intelligent. One company, AI company, open source AI company in the USA, developed ChatGPT. ChatGPT is like a robot which is very well trained. You ask any question related to traveling, related to news, related to education, related to technology, related to food, anything, whatever you can ask the Google, same thing you can ask the ChatGPT also, it will give the answer. A big debate is going on in the world. ChatGPT will replace the Google very soon. Why? Because people are attracted to ChatGPT. So advantage is there, disadvantage is there. Now, students, especially kids, are misusing ChatGPT, right? So when they go for an exam, whatever the question they ask in the paper, they are typing the question in the ChatGPT, it is giving the answer, they are writing that. So it is giving lot of advantages as well as lot of disadvantages. Let me show you ChatGPT. So this is the website, chat.openapi.com. So you need to create an account in the ChatGPT. That too, it is free of cost. ChatGPT is free of cost. Now let us see. Here it is like a chat bot. How we have a chat bot in the Zoom. Similarly, they have a chat bot in the ChatGPT. Now I'm going here, I'm typing Java program to reverse a string. Java program to reverse a string. That is my question. I entered that question to ChatGPT. Now see the behavior. It is thinking. It will come up with a solution now. One minute. Huge load. Millions of people, crores of people are using ChatGPT. It released into market in the November 2022. Millions of people already created account using ChatGPT. I thought you people know ChatGPT. No. Now see here. It is typing the answer. See, it is not using string buffer also because it is giving the correct right solution for us. It is giving the next alternate solution also. For students, it is very, very helpful to learn the things. It is explaining that also what code they have written. Now, lot of debate is going on. So many jobs will reduce in the companies because of this ChatGPT. Now, we no need to use our brain. Whatever the task we want to do, just write that. It is giving the answer, copy paste. Okay, it completed. See how many programs it has given to reverse a string. 2 programs it has given. It is explaining also. Okay, now for example, I want to perform sum of 2 numbers by using Python. I don't know Python. Okay, guys. Sum of 2 numbers using Python. That's it. It is giving the answer. Enter first number. It is reading from keyboard. It is writing the code. It is giving the explanation also. Second option, second approach. Now, suppose you want to write a JDBC program to insert a record. Can we ask ChatGPT? insert record using Java JDBC. That's it. You give question in any format, it can understand. That much intelligent it is. Now see the JDBC program. See, it is giving the explanation also. Now, no. You can do more work in the less time now, because you no need to apply your brain. Whatever the task we want to do, immediately you can get the solution now. See, it is giving the answer and it is giving the explanation. Still it is typing that. It is giving the response also. What it is telling? It is given the program with the statement and it is telling that it is not recommended because of SQL injection, recommended to go with the prepared statement. Now, JDBC prepared statement example. JDBC prepared statement example. Will Google do like this? No, it is advanced than Google. Google is just a search engine. ChatGPT is like a chatbot. Now see here. I just asked a question. Give prepared statement example. It is very well trained artificial intelligence. I told prepared statement. What it has done? Positional parameters it is using. See, set string, set int, set string, execute that statement, execute update, close the connection. Now, suppose I want to know how to prepare biryani. Can we ask ChatGPT? Stop generating, you can stop the response. How to prepare Hyderabad biryani. It is thinking because it is very well trained. It is very well trained. Now you will get the response. They already loaded that data. Thing is, up to 2021, data is loaded. It is 1 year old data. Now, still they have released a trial version into market to understand how it is behaving. It is super hit. Otherwise, Google will gone. Now, see here. I have given wrong spelling also for biryani. It understood correctly. Now see here, ingredients. Cut into bite-sized. See the beauty. No, it will come. It is taking time. Thinking. So GPT full form. ChatGPT is the most trending concept in the market now. ChatGPT, GPT full form. GPT full form. Generative pre-training transformer. Generative pre-training transformer. It is well trained on the data worldwide. Up to 2021 data is already loaded to ChatGPT. They released into market. That company is Open API company developed this ChatGPT. November 2022, they released into market. Within these 3 months of time, it spread across the world. Across the world, people are using GPT, right? So we don't know what is going to happen. Yeah. See here, ChatGPT generative pre-trained transformer is a chatbot launched by Open API in November 2022. Right? It is very well trained robot. Sorry, I can't complete the response. Maybe some error, guys. Let me refresh it. See here, how to make HTTP request in the JavaScript. I want to make one HTTP request by using JavaScript. Click on that. It will write a program. We don't know. Like operation. So it is accessing that JSON API by using JavaScript. It is writing a program for that. Existed data, correct. Whatever is loaded, it is giving that existing data. So this is giving the program for that. Beautiful, na? Now people are cheating in the interview with the ChatGPT. Whatever the question they ask, right? You can search. Yes, they will stop this. ChatGPT is scaring you, huh? Yeah, you see here they told that the data is loaded up to 2021 only. Yeah, capabilities. Remember what user said earlier in the conversation. Whatever the questions we are asking, it will remember our questions also. Allows user to provide corrections. If anything is giving incorrectly, we can tell ChatGPT to correct it. Next time it will give the correct answer. Trained to decline inappropriate requests. Some questions it is not going to answer. May occasionally generate incorrect information because it is a trained robot. It is a trained robot. May occasionally produce a harmful, limited knowledge of the world and events after 2021. Any event which happened in the world, all the information related to world, any platform. It is not only for educational, technology, science, maths, chemistry, nation, world, states, everything. Up to 2021, they loaded the data into ChatGPT. After 2021, whatever happened, that it is not going to provide. Suppose, for example, if you check with Narendra Modi, it will give complete information because it is already very well trained robot. Any question you ask, it will give the answer. Right. Okay. Suppose now, if we go for Java, suppose develop Spring Boot REST API. Develop Spring Boot REST API. It is giving the steps also. How to create a REST API by using Spring Boot. Like this, it is giving the steps what we need to follow. Suppose if I ask, what is the result set in JDBC? What is result set in the JDBC? complete information it will give. So easily you can prepare your study materials with the ChatGPT now. Right? Every concept you can ask in the ChatGPT, it will give the answer. See, it has given the answer about when I ask about result set, it explained me what is result set, and it has given me the program also how we need to work with the result set. Okay, so you can create a free account in the ChatGPT and you can explore that. This is the website chat.openai.com/chat ChatGPT. Generative pre-trained transformer. The full form? Generative pre-trained transformer. Generative pre-trained transformer. For educational purpose, it is very, very, very helpful because you can prepare short material, whatever you want. Okay. Any program, if you don't know the solution, you can ask the ChatGPT. It will give you the solution. Anything. If you go for Docker, Kubernetes, Python, Node.js, any technology, any question you ask, it will come up with the answer. I thought you people know that ChatGPT. Some people know already. Yeah, good. Chitti, the robot. Good. If you click regenerate the response, it will give the second answer. Another form of the result set answer. You can regenerate that. Huh? हाँ, Google से बहुत अच्छा है. I think Microsoft is trying to acquire this. Huh? Allah ఏముండదు. Yeah, but people can do more work in the less time with the help of ChatGPT. Question and answer. That's it. और क्या चाहिए आपको? हाँ? क्या? बिरयानी बना के देगा क्या? And you see, in the recent, some of the videos which we have uploaded in the YouTube, these videos I prepared with the ChatGPT only. What is the Spring Boot? Probation period or notice period? If you see this video, is it my voice? No. Auto-generated voice, right? This is text I have taken from ChatGPT, and that text I converted into text to speech. Text to speech. Now I have taken this text from ChatGPT, right? So whatever the text I have taken from ChatGPT, I've made some changes to the text. Exactly, it is not going to work out. I made some changes to the text. Now there is another software. For that software, if I give that script, if I give the text, it will give the video along with the voice. And that voice also we can choose male voice or female voice, Indian English or Canada English, UK English. We can select that. With that, I have created this video. So many people are making videos, promotional videos by using ChatGPT. Huh? Here that option is not there. That is another website. So ChatGPT will give you text. So to convert the text to video, there is another software. Pictorial software is available. That is a commercial software. We need to purchase that. ChatGPT, as of now, it is free of cost. So in future, we don't know what is going to happen. Still, they are doing research on that. As a trial version, they released into market. They observed people response. So it is having lot of demand. Suppose if you want to develop a web page, okay? So if you don't know how to develop a web page, can we ask ChatGPT? Create HTML login page. right? PHP में कर रहा है वो. Whatever it is, just action is PHP, the tags are HTML. You can ask anything. You can ask anything, it will give the answer. It is just chatting type. You ask the question, it will give the response. Done. Suppose I want to know about JDBC batch updates. Today we discussed about it, right? JDBC batch update example. It has taken 3 update queries. It created 3 queries as one array. Created a connection, not loading the driver. Attach the SQL statements to batch. Statement.add batch. In the for each loop, it is adding the queries to batch. Finally, it is executing the batch. What is the return type? Integer array. Print the update count. Whatever the integer array we are getting, it is printing that update count. Then exception. It is handling that. That's it. It is giving the explanation also. What methods it is using, why it is using. See here. Can you read this? What it is telling? Whenever we execute our queries as a batch, advantage is all the queries will execute at a time. It will reduce number of round trips between Java application and database. But what is the disadvantage? There are 10 queries available. My 4th query failed. Then all the remaining queries also going to fail. And batch operations we can use only for creation, insertion, updation, and deletion. We can't use it for select. Note that point. Note. In the batch queries, if one query failed, then all the remaining queries also will fail. Next question. People asking, will ChatGPT replace developers? Not completely. In the batch queries, if one query failed, in batch operation, if one query failed, in batch operation, if one query failed, then all the remaining queries also will fail. In batch operation, if one query failed, then all the remaining queries also will fail. In batch operation, if one query is failed, then all the remaining queries also will fail. Next note. Batch operations we can use to perform only non-select operations. Batch operations we can use to perform only non-select operations. Batch operations we can use to perform only non-select operations. Batch operations we can use to perform only non-select operations. नहीं PHP में है वो, हमारा वेबसाइट PHP पे होगा. PHP means quickly we can develop the project. But maintenance wise, it is not good. Now I am feeling bad. Why we developed that in PHP? If I want to make any change, I need to contact PHP developer. Yes. So you understood what is batch operation in JDBC? Yeah. So just go through the points. Ruby Rails. I also don't know what is Ruby Rails. Interview questions, answers also you can get from ChatGPT. Core Java interview questions and answers. It will give question and answer, question and answer. JDBC interview questions and answers. It will give question and answer. Each and every, you can use it to get more knowledge, right? Right. So when we want to perform multiple operations in the database, executing queries, multiple queries, one by one, which will reduce performance of the application. So to improve performance of the application, we are going to use a concept called batch. Whatever the queries we want to execute, add all the queries to the batch and execute the batch. So when we execute a batch, whatever the queries we added to the batch, all the queries will execute at a time. There is an advantage as well as disadvantage. What is the advantage? All queries will execute at a time. What is disadvantage? I have added 3 queries. If second query is failed, third query also will not execute. Got it? Now, advantage is there, disadvantage is also there. Good. Can I give the task now? So insert 5 records, insert assignment, insert 3 records into table using batch operation, with prepared statement. I explained batch operation with statement. What you need to try? How to execute the batch by using prepared statement. Batch operation with prepared statement. We have done the program with the statement. Now you need to do the same program by using prepared statement. Prepared statement means query with positional parameters. Query with positional parameters you need to do for the prepared statement. Okay. Fine. Next one. Another task. Assignment 1, assignment 2. Read employee and employee address data from keyboard and insert into DB table. Read employee and employee address data from keyboard and insert into database table. One program is sufficient, one employee. Read employee and employee address data from keyboard and insert into database table. So this one, you need to do the batch operation with the prepared statement. And this is, you need to read employee data and employee address data from the keyboard. So employee data, nothing but you need to read like ID, name, and salary. Address data means city, state, country. That's it. 2 tables. Employee data should be inserted into employee table. Address data should be inserted into address table. Note. Employee data should be inserted into employee table and address data should be inserted into EMP address table. Insert the 3 records into table using batch operation with the prepared statement. Read employee and employee address data from keyboard and insert into database table. ID, name, and salary. This data should be inserted into EMP table. This data should be inserted into employee address table. So once you are able to do this second assignment, then we will understand what is transaction management in the JDBC. Okay, so to explain transaction management, you people should develop this program. Then only you will understand what is the purpose of transactions with the database. Can you guys do this? Easy or difficult? Easy. Okay, good. ChatGPT. If you use ChatGPT now, your skill will not be improved. Remember, that is another danger. Tomorrow, if you go for interview, ChatGPT will not be available. You need to write the code. Online, maybe they will ask, whenever you attend the interview in the online also, they will ask you to share your screen. You can't search, na? You can't search and you cannot rotate your head. They will observe you. So ChatGPT will not help you for the interview. Once you get into the company, then you can use the ChatGPT, because when you attend an online interview, they will watch your face. How can you rotate your head? And right. Right. And they will ask you to share your screen. You can't search in the ChatGPT. So if you use the ChatGPT to do the assignments, your skill will not be improved. You will face difficulty in the interview. Don't use ChatGPT now. First you try it. Then you use ChatGPT. Then you try to understand that. Okay. In the interview, you need to do it on your own. Right? Good. Thank you guys. So please do these 2 assignments. We'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow also class will start at 4 o'clock. Okay. Thank you guys.